take a hard shift out of politics for a second and let's start dunking on these public schools and their absolute fucking failure. Statistics show Americans' education system is failing. What? You needed stats to prove that, but at least there's a little bit of information that's backing this up. CRT and lower expectation equals fewer literate graduates. That sucks. Experts say, but I thought you had statistical evidence. Learning has been replaced by an aggressive political agenda designed to instill doubt, mental pain, and lower expectations in students. Yep, I just see them all through. According to government statistics, Americans' education system is failing. What? No. According to one expert, lower expectations and the shift in focus from academic excellence in mathematics, science, reading, and history towards the implementation of social constructs like critical race theory equals fewer literate graduates. What? But it's important to say that white people are racist. Slavery. Whatever. Public records and other evidence show that the state level and some local education officials are no longer focused on maintaining high academic standards and providing the best public education possible for students. What Liv Fine wrote in September of 2021 report regarding the lowering of academic standards by school officials in Washington state. Whoa, wow, I wonder what she'd have to say about California and their gay clubs that they keep pushing as they implement CRT. No, that's not in public schools. No. Yeah, is anybody even making that argument at this point, or is it just the fact of the matter is it's like, you guys got caught lying, stop lying, why you lying? Instead, a concern for the learning has been replaced by an aggressive political agenda designed to instill doubt, mental pain, and lower expectations in students. I just read something like that. This race-centered agenda also seeks to divide children from teachers, their own communities, and from each other. This harmful trend can only be resolved through policies that return high-quality academic standards to public education and well-funded to support education choice programs that allow families to access alternatives services to meet the learning needs of all children. Fine, a former adjunct scholar, now serving as director for the Center for Education at Washington Policy Center, has been analyzing education policy for the past 13 years. Her research suggests the unmistakable decline in the literacy of America's students from 4th to 12th grade as a direct result in the shift from academic excellence towards social constructs such as CRT. But what about those kindergarten and pre-K kids all the way through the 3rd grade? Are they doing good? Is America still excelling there? Because Biden needs to know if he has some prime sniffing material out there, if they're smart enough to know better. Intentionally, we do pretty well at the 4th grade. Oh, internationally, sorry. Nothing intentional about this. Fine told Epoch Times, but we decline from there. Recent statistics support our claim. There you go. Government data from 2019 shows average fourth graders has a 41% proficiency level in mathematics. Fuck it. 41% of kids are proficient in mathematics. By 8th grade, the proficiency level drops to a third. 33%. By 12th grade, America's students have an average math proficiency of under a fucking quarter, 24 fucking percent. In reading, 4th graders have an average proficiency rate of 35%. By 8th grade, it's 34%, and 12th grade is a slight improvement. Hey, they're doing a little bit better, 37%, but they're all still in that same general area. In writing, proficiency is 28 and 4th. 8th and 12th graders are both a little bit worse at 27%. So they're just fucking kicking ass. Nobody's above 50% in these very critical areas. But what about knowing about that 1619 project? That's what we're focused on right now. It's kind of like those economic markers that the Biden administration was running on. If you guys remember his policy, we're going to drop off traditional markers, okay? We're going to go with how diverse we are and other dumb shit like that. Students fare far worse in science, with 4th graders at 36% proficiency and 35%. 12th graders have a 22% in science. Oh my god. The worst score comes in history. Oh boy, no kidding. But they're learning history. It's important to learn our history. Well, you should probably learn the right one to be proficient in it. 20%. Okay, 20% of 4th graders, 15% of 8th graders, and 12% of fucking 12th graders. The ones who theoretically should be, well educated. They aren't passing, okay? The majority of them aren't proficient in any of the important fucking metrics of what the public school system is apparently trying to accomplish. they aren't getting it done. Can't say I'm shocked. Recent numbers from USA Facts follow similar results. According to Fine, there are a number of reasons for the steady decline. Oh, that all rhymes. What's the time? Literacy among American students, the longer they remain in school, steadily declining on that, Jesus. Number one is the low expectations we have of our teachers. Yeah, but they're heroes and they're frontline workers and all that other stupid shit. So let's go hard on these teachers, okay? We don't expect our teachers to be particularly well educated, and they are not trained to teach the science of reading. Yup, you should make it harder to be a teacher. You should pay them a whole lot better, especially if they're good, and they should know what the fuck they're talking about instead of just reading off of a syllabus. And it's like, okay, so I'm just gonna employ the Marge Simpson theory that I'll just take courses and I'll just try to stay one lesson ahead of you guys, and I'll be able to fucking work the system that way. Not gonna work. And definitely isn't working. Have you seen the numbers? So basically, we have a public school system that is negligently instructing children how to read, and it's going to be going on for decades. Conversely, teachers blame other factors for the academic decline among America's students. According to a March 2021 report by the Economic Policy Institute, the decline in academic achievement begins with the shortage of teachers. Okay, so either there's a shortage of teachers. Well, okay, they're underfunded. Okay, they're under good, and there's a shortage of them. All right then. Their shortage has triggered the domino effect. So, okay, if there's fewer of them, and because they're not paid well, does that just incentivize bad teachers and idiots who just think that I need to go to college, and what can I do for a few years to just fuck around? I'll become a teacher. Cool. Shortage has triggered a domino effect, forcing principals to hire less qualified teachers or underqualified substitute teachers. Yep. Which leaves students receiving instruction from teachers who lack sufficient skills and knowledge, which inevitably leads to poor levels of proficiency in basic subject matter. Yep. I can count on like one fist the amount of good teachers throughout my entire time in the public school system. And when it comes to substitute teachers, I can't remember a single one of them, okay? Not a fucking one of them. They all stunk. And you know what always happened? Whenever a substitute teacher would come in, guess what? It would either just be boilerplate handouts, okay? If the teacher was able, okay, the one who was sick or whatever had a scheduled time off, they'd, set up all the handouts beforehand. Or it would be, guess what? Movie day. That's what you get. In May 2019, EPI study showed that nearly 30% of teachers blamed low academic achievement on students coming to school unprepared to learn. What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Nearly 22% of teachers blamed parents who are struggling to be involved with their children's education. Well, it's your job to be involved in the children's education. So why are you trying to shift the blame? Oh, because you're underpaid and whatever. Cyclical thinking. More than 1 in 5 teachers, 21.8%, reported that they have been threatened, and 1 in 8, 12.4%, say that they've been physically attacked by students at their current school. Yeah, you take a look at some of those videos that are coming out of like South Central. Yeah, it's tough shit, okay? The 2019 report slated further, compounding the stress. Teachers report a level of conflict with and a lack of support from administrators and fellow teachers, and say in their work, more than 2/3 of teachers report that they have less than a great deal of influence over what they teach in the classroom. That's a problem. That is actually a problem that I am sympathetic to them. They should be able, if they're of sound mind and body, they should be able to develop their curriculum on the subjects that they are teaching, or the subject that they are teaching, and properly tailor that to what they think is important, as long as it conforms with the overall ideology of what the school district should be teaching. I don't see anything wrong with that, and yeah, they should have the leeway to be teaching that, as long as it is in the rubric of that. Not if you're teaching history and then all of a sudden, I want to be talking about a fucking opinion piece I read in the New York Times. Go fuck yourself. Take your $30,000 a year and buy an iron fist that you can affix to your fucking desk seat. And what instructional materials they use, okay, which suggests low respect for their knowledge and judgment. Yeah, okay. And again, if that's the case, if that's what you find yourself in, a very rigid rubric of what you're allowed to teach, get fucking familiar with it or find a new job. Simple as. Linda Darling Hammond of Stanford University School of Education blames inequity, of course she does, of funding and resource allocation of the low scholastic skills of America's students, insisting that the analysis of recent data revealed that on every tangible measure, from qualified teachers to curriculum offering, schools serving greater number of students of color. Oh, of course it is. It's all about more racism. Had significantly fewer resources than schools serving mostly white students. Yeah, and they also get funded on, their ability to accomplish their job. So, I'm just saying. Darling Hammond further suggests that policies associated with school funding, though like the one I pointed out, resource allocation and tracking leave minority students with fewer and lower quality books. You should just teach them easier things because we all know the blacks can't learn as quickly as the white students. It's fucking racist. This curriculum materials, laboratories. You gotta teach them how to cook meth. Fucking add baking soda to cocaine, make crack rock. And computers, significantly larger class sizes, less qualified and experienced teachers. Yeah, because they don't want to have to wear a bulletproof vest in order to teach social studies. And less access to high quality curriculum. Okay, whatever, stupid. Fine suggested another reason. Aha! Why the system doesn't correct itself in the way that the education system is a monopoly ran by the government. I like this lady. And there is no way to hold the system accountable for the results. We have tried it for 40 years. You fucking well better believe it, okay? And the failures have compounded in the areas that have failed over and over and over and over again over the past 40 fucking years. So again, you can continue to say, oh, these places are underfunded, but if these people keep underperforming, you don't get the money. Turn it around, fuckers, or close it down. Since the report during the Reagan years, oh my god, a nation at risk, revealed that we are in trouble in our education system, Fine said. Since then, Fine said the other top-down efforts like Common Core pushed by the Obama administration also failed. Yeah, have you seen any of those mathematic equations that get pushed through Common Core? A link in the description, you can click on it there. I'm not going to because I don't need that much brain damage. I've already been through the public school system and suffered as such. Rather than improving education, the testing standards set by Common Core actually furthered illiteracy. Sorry. They didn't do anything to help, just like everything else in the Obama administration, because those standards were based on good intentions. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're trying to do good things. Did you accomplish that? Well, we're trying. And policies to make everyone feel good, but they failed because based on the government monopoly system that ultimately degrades the quality of education. So yeah, what was the response to that? We'll just go ahead and pass people with just lower proficiency because we can't seem to get it up. So, oh well. Rather than develop curriculum that provides students with the qualifications needed to graduate high school, Fine said the education system has opted to lower the bar of academic standards. Yeah, no shit. It's like everything else, just like getting admitted into the military. Okay, yeah, you could. Oh, we need to start diversifying and equity that's out there. Oh, but guess what? All of our fucking diversity hires can't get through the physical fitness test. So what should we do instead of just, recruiting the people who want to join? Okay, the people who were formerly excluded that couldn't pass the different policies that are in there. What we'll do, we'll just make them easier, or we'll just make different qualifications in order for people to get there. It's worked fine for generations, but that's racist and sexist now. Yeah. That's what's happening literally fucking everywhere. They're lowering the bar in a couple of ways, like the ethnic studies framework passed by the state of Washington in 2019. That sounds like AIDS. Critical race theory concepts are now woven into the learning standards of all of the different subjects since 2019, huh? As Fine explains, traditional education standards have been reorganized into the system of oppression, and the whole CRT construct, a false philosophy from radical professors in higher education, is now being imposed as truth as the standard of learning in K through 12 schools. When you take attention away from the basics and focus on teaching this ideology, you're going to get a lower level of knowledge, and skill acquisition of the basics in reading, math, history, and science. Not to mention learning falsehoods in history like the 1619 Project. I love this lady. It's astonishing. Fine also cited the movement to get rid of testing. Yeah, this is some dumb shit, okay? Because just as I was leaving, okay, all of this shit, I feel so lucky that I'm the age that I am, that I was getting out of the public school system when they started to implement this stuff. Like, instead of letter grades on report cards, you were starting to get effort grades, okay? I'm sure that is still going on right now, but that just always seemed fucking wild. It's not how well you performed in, the different ways and the different testing methodologies and the different, accomplishment metrics that are out there. But if you just gave it a good old try, or if, the teacher liked you, you could get, I forget the proper mark. It was like A, E, S. I think like S was top for effort. And if you got that, it's like, yeah, you're dumb as a bag of rocks, but at least you fucking tried. And that's apparently good enough to get you through grade school. Cool. I see the State Board of Education is working on eliminating the need for tests. Fine, noted. And while she is not a big proponent of testing and believes students are currently being over-tested, yeah, the basic rubric of tests are fucking retarded, and there should be a better way of doing that, because that is a specific way that, you know what, is kind of tailored to better serve the girls that are out there, because they do better on tests. You just take a look at that stuff. But when it comes to actually, you know what, implementing the stuff that's being taught in the classroom, when it comes to showing the practical application of the knowledge that's being apparently taught and learned in the classroom, boys do better when they are able to act out what they learn. That's just found, and that's just well researched and defined. You can check it out elsewhere, but I'm just giving you a little bit of information that I know. She believes the elimination of all testing would be a disaster, because we would not know which kids are falling behind, and we would lose the proof that current standards are failing. Yeah, exactly. You should still have tests. You just shouldn't have so many tests. You know what I mean? Unexplained. One of the things the top-down reforms did was require state tests to measure student knowledge in math, reading, and science. Those tests revealed a huge academic achievement gap in the 20 to 30 points behind white and Asian students, those Black, Hispanic, and Native American children. So the CRT concepts come along with the virtue of the radicals. Fine said. Educators no longer learn how to teach reading, writing, and science. They learn how to teach social justice to children, so their priorities have been turned completely upside down. You're not focused on teaching children who are not doing well in schools to a higher level. We are lowering the fucking bar. According to Fine, September 2021, a report in the Washington, or it should be Washington, don't you think? Like, she's from Washington, she's doing all of her study there. Policy Center, the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction in Washington State, is now in the process of lowering learning standards in the area of English, language arts, history, social studies, math, and science, and replacing them with standards to incorporate best practices in ethnic studies. How worthless. They are also developing ethnic studies materials for K through 12 grades. What practical application does that have in like the real world? Okay. I have no idea. I couldn't even erect a straw man in order to prop that idea up. The decision follows Washington State Governor Jay Inslee signing SB 5044J. We know what that stands for, don't we? In April, which requires CRT training for all school staff, board directors, teachers, and administrators, public schools across the state. And you know what? We were talking about this a little bit earlier in the video when they were mentioning that the teachers who are teaching the curriculum don't quite know the material that they're actually telling the kids. Well, if you force them to be indoctrinated into the cult of social justice and then they have to start espousing that, maybe the aptitude and maybe the retention level for the students will be a little bit higher if, you know what, they're forced to do it. So, you know what? There's a silver lining everywhere, right? So what about this status quo system? Okay, not wanting to rock the boat, you know, just trying to, you know, continue to corrupt the system until it becomes unrecognizable. New push by the school board to abandon efforts in the academic achievement and shift towards social constructs like CRTs in the effort to hide the fact that they have failed in the jobs to educate our children. The whole idea, the community knew that their school was not educated their children to the basic levels they would rise up. Just look what's happening with the uprising of parents against CRT in places like Loudoun County, Virginia, and California and Seattle and Oregon and several other places as well, but Loudoun County is just the most popular one that's out there, and they're still going forward with it. It's a huge uphill battle for parents, and thank God they're actually taking up the fight for once. The whole system has promoted children whether they learn the content or not, so why should they care if the whole generation of children lost the content of a year? It's constituents with their practice. It's consistent, with their practice. They do not individualize education. They don't make sure each individual child is ready to go on to the next grade. They move them along, especially minority children, because the only people blocking real reform are the defenders, the status quo, the ones who like it just the way it is. Yep. Not holding kids to any standard, because that would be racist, sexist, misogynistic, and all that other fucking fun stuff, okay? You just pass them along even though they're just blithering unassuming idiots drooling on their fucking desk. Case in point, removing all indicators of failure. Throughout the years, schools have sought to eliminate the concept of winning to protect the feelings of those who lost. Ugh. Remember when participation trophies used to be a meme? Yeah, it sure has snowballed from there. It started when teachers stopped using red pens in grading because it's suggested by experts that the use of red pen may convey unintentional negative emotions. It was later suggested that teachers stop using behavior charts because rewards are for training pets, not people. Oh my god. And treating behavior as good or bad is a part of an antiquated paradigm. Oh my god, I feel like I'm developing cancer as I read this. That doesn't take into consideration a child's temperament. Yeah, no, are you stupid or not? Okay, cool. Big red X on your paper, dummy. Schools want to do away with keeping score in sports, eliminating valedictorians, pronounce it correctly, and trophies. Now schools are trying to eliminate standardized testing because it's supposedly racist. Yeah, of course it is. With test scores going down, now they want to take tests out altogether. Fine, lamented. It's not the way forward. If you study CRT ideology, it's consistent with her thinking that the system is racist, whites are oppressors, and the only reason why minority children aren't getting ahead, is because they're unfairly treated when compared to whites. Yeah, my bell curve. So how do we fix that? We remove all indicators to show that they aren't doing well as educators. Yep, because it's got to be somebody else's problem. It's got to be Whitey's problem. Why are you so powerful and I'm so weak? On July 14th, 2021, Oregon Democratic Governor Kate Brown, with her very sensible haircut and her librarian glasses, quietly signed a bill that drops the requirement that high school students demonstrate proficiency in reading, writing, or math before graduating. Yeah, of course not, because all of those are racist, and we just want idiots to be passed through the system now, don't we? In an effort to address a learning loss due to the 2020-2021 school closures, Virginia's Alexandria City Public School instituted a new policy that stopped requiring students to complete homework assignments on time because time's racist. We only counted it if it does not lower the student's final grade of the course, and the lowest grade that may be awarded on a finals exam is 50%. So if you just sign your name at the top and then decide to just go smoke dope in the parking lot, that's fine. You just get a 50. It's all good. In November of 2021, California State University proudly announced the dramatic growth of the number of graduates after lowering the standards of graduation. Cool. That's the exact same thing that Bill de Blasio was doing when he was saying, we're doing criminal reform. Cashless bail is working because we have fewer incarcerated people than ever happened before. Don't mind the violent crime spike. In July of 2021, Nevada's Clark County School Board voted to revise the district's grading policy. See a common theme that's running through all of these places? Just saying. To allow grades above 50%, to allow students to revise assignments, retake tests, and eliminate some behavioral factors like attendance and participation from grades. Citing racial inequality as a motivation, several schools in Southern California have directed teachers to ditch the standard A through F grading system and only put a big N at the top of the corner and J, and you're going to have to go ahead and figure those out for yourself, because I'm not going to go ahead and outline that. And apply grades based on whether or not they believe the student learned what was expected of them, rather than penalizing them for behavior, work habits, punctuation, grammar, and missed assignment deadlines. New York did the same thing in January 2021. AIDS. Like it says here, and something else that I've been pointing out as well, every time that we dunk on the public school system, silver lining in the coof, it exposed the parents to what the kids are being forced to pretend learn out there, and realizing that homeschooling, private schooling might be the way we need to go if I don't want to be, producing a fucking dummy out there. Silver lining is we will eventually figure out how terrible it's been through the COVID shutdowns, and it has become clear how far behind many kids are, and the movement to expand school choice is not going away because parents have woken up, and that's what's so excited about coof school shutdowns. Together, they take over the schools by this crazy critical race theory idea that children are bad. If they're white, they're racist, and they are not white, they're victims, and that's going to lead to lawsuits. Maybe out of the ashes of this, the school choice will arise. Exactly. Okay. This is still a democracy for right now. The exchange of ideas is still happening in the education because we do care about our children. That's what I'm hoping, okay, the author, obviously, that people will see the wisdom of giving parents real control, not just window dressing like involving parents and having parent involvement coordinators, but real fucking control. Exactly. What a very comprehensive look into what is going on in the modern public school system, and it's just kind of a snapshot now, the different mandates aside, obviously forcing kids to wear masks and getting the jab in order to just, wade back into this nonsense is a topic for another day. We're just looking specifically at the policies that are in place when it comes to the actual work that's there. It is pretty horrific. It's not something that I'm necessarily shocked by. I'm just glad that it's finally down in documented form, and I was able to share it with you guys today. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.